I dropped $23,000 on her opulent baby shower. A day later, my sister unwittingly sent a voice note intended for Mom. And what I heard about myself made me pack up by morning with a scheme she never dreamed of. Can I tell you about the moment I found out my own sister thought I owed her? That my entire life, my hard work, my sacrifices, it was all just a debt I was expected to pay because I had the audacity to be single and boring? It was like a punch to the gut, a betrayal that echoed through 13 years of my life, making me wonder if I'd ever truly known my own family. And it all came out because of a baby shower. My name's Alex. I'm 32, work in IT, and yeah, I keep a spreadsheet for everything. Rent, groceries, how many times I've covered for my family this year. It's all there. I'm the oldest, the fixer, the one who stayed. I've got a decent car, a clean credit score, and a face that looks perfectly fine under bank lights. My sister, Ruby, she's 26. All Instagram polished and now pregnant with the first grandbaby. Mom calls her our little star. Dad, before he passed, would always say, "Whatever Ruby needs, we'll figure it out." And then he'd look at me. Because we always meant me. For years, I told myself it didn't bother me. I had a good job. I was single. I could help. That was the story I repeated to myself on long drives home, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, while the family group chat pinged with "just one more thing" requests. I could help because I always had. It was my role, my identity. The night before everything changed, I was at Ruby's apartment, my fingers aching from a heavy box of glass flutes. She'd ordered special ones, with rose gold rims and "Baby Girl" etched in cursive. The door was propped open with a pink balloon weight. Inside, the air was thick with the sickly sweet scent of fake peonies and vanilla. A sign leaned against the wall. "Welcome to Ruby's baby shower, a luxe affair." I set the flutes down, trying not to stare at the invoice peeking out of the box. $299.99. For flutes. Ruby was pacing, phone on speaker, barking instructions. "Mom, no. The backdrop has to be 7 feet, at least. The arch needs height." A pause, then she snapped. "Well, can Alex just rent the bigger one? He's here." She turned, saw me, and didn't even bother to lower her voice. "Don't roll your eyes, Alex. You said you'd help." I hadn't rolled my eyes. I think I just blinked too slowly. "Hey," I said, my voice soft, tired. "I'm here, aren't I?" She ended the call and waved a manicured hand at a pile of gift bags. "Can you stuff tissue paper? Like, poofy, not sad. I want luxurious vibes." I did the tissue paper. I did the poof. Ruby hummed along to a playlist she'd ironically named Opulent Baby. She didn't ask about my day. Instead, she asked if I could swing by the bakery in the morning to pick up the 5-tier cake with tiny gold crowns. "They'll only release it to the cardholder," she explained. "My card, of course, because I'd paid." "I paid because you asked," I said, my voice flat. "You offered," she corrected, not even looking up. She held up a white onesie. "Princess in training." She giggled at her own joke. Then the door buzzed, and she yelled, "Come in." The party planner strutted in, scanning the room like a general assessing a battlefield. "Whose card is on file for the balloon invoice?" Ruby's eyes slid to me. I opened my mouth, but before I could answer, my phone lit up with a text from Mom. "Remember to bring cash for tips tomorrow. It's not included in the package. So tacky if we don't tip." I stared at the screen. I felt the ground tilt. It's a specific kind of dizziness, where you get angry and exhausted at the same time. Your brain goes slow so you don't explode. Ruby snapped her fingers, treating me like a waiter. "Hello, card." "Mine," I said, the word coming out like a grunt. "It's mine." The planner smiled, the way people smile at ATMs. "Perfect," she said. "We'll run it in the morning." I looked at the fake peonies, the velvet ribbon, the pile of favors that read, "Thank you for showering Ruby in rose gold." I looked at my hands, raw from cardboard boxes. Then Ruby's phone chimed again. Another message from Mom, loud in the quiet room because Ruby never turns off notification sounds. "Mom, don't stress Alex out. He gets resentful when he feels used." Ruby snorted, then said out loud, loud enough for me to hear, "He is used." Something slipped inside me then, like a gear missing teeth. "Say that again," I said, my voice unnaturally calm. Ruby blinked, then shrugged. "You know what I mean. You have money. That's your thing. Mine is, like, events." The planner coughed into her clipboard. I put the last poof of tissue paper into a bag and lined it up with the others. My chest was tight, but my voice came out steady anyway. Okay, I said. I'll be at the bakery at 9. Let me back up a bit. This wasn't some sudden shift. This was a pattern, years in the making. Dad got sick when I was 19. Not dramatic, TV show sick. Slow sick. He lost hours at work first, then his boss, then the house in 2011. Mom kept saying it was temporary. I took a campus job, then another job off campus, then dropped classes because temporary, eat semesters for breakfast. Ruby was in high school. We all lived in a 2-bedroom apartment that smelled like frozen lasagna and damp laundry. I slept on a futon in the living room. When Ruby needed money for senior photos, I paid. When Mom's car needed brakes, I paid. When Dad's meds got bumped to a tier the insurance didn't like, I fought on the phone for 3 days and then paid. People say money doesn't buy happiness. It doesn't. But it buys less panic. It buys time to fix things. It buys the right to sleep through the night. I taught myself to code. I lucked into an internship. I took every shift no one else wanted. I became indispensable, and then better paid. I moved out, but not far. Every Friday, I came back with groceries. The landlord liked me because I paid on time. Sometimes I paid for 2 months at once, just to be safe. Mom said, "You're so responsible." She said it like a compliment and a leash. Ruby, on the other hand, learned how to ask nicely, and then, if that didn't work, loudly. "I hate feeling poor," she'd say, flopping onto the couch. "It's so depressing." She'd scroll through her phone and sigh. "I just want a little joy. Is that so awful?" It wasn't. I scraped joy from cheap pizza and night runs through the park. Ruby scraped it from acrylic nails and flash sales. We were both trying to outrun the same fear. Hers wore glitter. Mine were spreadsheets. After Dad passed, the calls started coming as emergencies. The power is about to be shut off. The car is making a grinding sound. Ruby's rent is due on Tuesday, and her paycheck is messed up. If I hesitated, I got the full chorus. "Mom, you know your father would help if he could. Aunt Lisa, family is everything. Ruby, I'll pay you back. I swear." I started naming my transfers, a grim joke to myself. Operation Keep the Lights On. Mission Tires That Don't Explode. Ruby's Rent Rescue, the trilogy. I kept count. I told myself I wasn't keeping count. But the little tally lived in my phone notes, next to lists like vitamins to buy and questions for my dentist. It sat there, growing like a plant, small leaves of numbers curling toward the light. When Ruby announced the pregnancy, Mom cried, Aunt Lisa screamed, and I said, "Congratulations." I stood there hugging them while my brain did quiet math. Ruby said the dad was complicated. He lived in another city. "We're figuring it out," she'd said. Her voice had that airy tone she used when the subject was money, but she wanted it to sound like love. The shower became the project. It started small, cupcakes and paper fans, then it metastasized. Her Pinterest board looked like Versailles. Ruby said, "It's the first grandbaby. We deserve to celebrate." Mom said, "It's one day." Aunt Lisa said, "We can DIY it." Which, of course, meant they'd try to DIY it. Then I'd fix it with a credit card at 8 p.m. The planner offered a luxe package. Ruby's eyes lit up. I watched it happen. Her pupils turned into tiny dollar signs. The package came with custom signage, imported balloons, a throne chair, and a champagne wall that would be filled with sparkling cider because, well, pregnant. The price tag looked like a typo. Ruby sent me the link like we were sharing a meme. I stared at it and thought about Dad, the way he'd pause before a purchase, tapping the price with his thumb, reading it again like maybe it would change. I heard my own breath in my ears. Then I did the thing I always do. "Okay," I said. "I'll cover it." Mom sent heart emojis. Ruby sent a voice memo. "You're the best brother in the world." So I paid $23,000. 23,000. A number so big I said it silently, just to feel the weight of it. It covered the venue, the planner, the cake, the required gigantic floral hoop. It covered the throne chair Ruby would sit in while people brought her gift she'd registered for at 3 different stores, because not everyone likes the same retailer. The week before the shower, the asks multiplied. Could I take time off to meet the linen delivery? Could I pick up the favors because Ruby had a lash appointment? Could I get a mini fridge for the nursery because the baby might need beverages at night and the kitchen felt so far away? On Thursday, Mom texted, Your aunt thinks we need a live musician for ambience, not a DJ tacky. A cellist would be classy. I didn't respond for an hour. My phone rang. Mom went straight for it. You're being quiet, she said. I'm at work. You're always at work, she said, like I'd chosen an inconvenient hobby. Listen, Ruby is very hormonal. Please don't stress her. Ma, I'm a cellist, I deadpanned. Don't be negative, she said. It's not attractive. I called the cellist. When I brought those glass flutes to Ruby's apartment, the planner asked for my card. Mom asked for cash for tips. And Ruby asked if the balloon arch could be more full. I nodded. I nodded so much my neck hurt. That's how the night ended. Me agreeing, everyone else assuming. I got home, dumped my shoes by the door, and opened the Notes app where my tally lived. I added a line. Baby shower, $12,300 plus tips plus incidentals. I didn't put a joke caption on that one. It didn't feel funny. I set my alarm for 7 a.m. and lay on my back, staring at the ceiling, counting the glowing dots on my smoke detector. Some people pray. I do math. The shower itself looked like a magazine cover. Sun streaming through gauzy drapes. A wall of pink glasses waiting for bubbly. The throne chair, glaring like a prop from a reality show. Women in pale dresses. Men in shirts I knew they'd wear once. Ruby floated in tulle, corset-laced, crown-pinned. People gasped when they saw the cake. The cellist played songs that sounded expensive. I kept moving. Pick up. Carry. Hand off. My pockets held receipts, a mini stapler, 2 safety pins, and a card with the planner's urgent number. The gifts piled up. Ruby cooed. Someone said, "Wow, you really went all out." And Mom laughed and said, "We have our benefactor." She patted my shoulder like I was a grant. Then the moment came. It didn't look dramatic. It was a small, stupid moment, the kind you'd miss if you weren't me. The venue manager walked up with a tablet. "We're all set," she said. "Just the overage on time. We're 30 minutes past the window." I glanced at the tablet. $600. I said, "Okay." I reached for my wallet. Ruby reached faster and plucked the tablet from the manager's hands. "Put it on file," she said, tossing her hair. "Alex's card." She didn't look at me when she said my name. She said it like a button you press to make a machine do a task. People were watching. The cellist switched to a pop song everyone recognized, and the room made a soft, oh noise. Ruby smiled for photos. I stood there, my wallet open in my hand, and felt my face get hot. I paid because it was easier to bleed than to argue in public. After the party, I carried boxes to my car. The sun had that mean afternoon angle that shows every scratch on your paint. Mom hugged me, smelling like hairspray and sugar. "Thank you," she said, muffled against my shoulder. "You saved the day." "I paid for the day," I said. She flinched, a tiny twitch, then covered it with a joke. "Don't be crass." I drove home on autopilot. The city looked expensive. Every banner and billboard was an invoice. I tossed my suit jacket on a chair and fell onto the couch. My phone pinged. A text from Ruby. "Send any cute pics?" I didn't answer. I just put the phone face down and closed my eyes. It pinged again, then again. Finally, I flipped it over. A new notification from Ruby came through, but it wasn't a text. It was a voice memo. A long one. The preview said, "To Mom." Then another message. "Oops. Sent to the wrong chat." I pressed play. Ruby's voice poured into my living room like perfume you can't return. "Mom, he was so dramatic today," she said, laughing. "Like, I asked them to put the overage on his card, and he did that little face he does, like, 'Oh no, my wallet hurts.' He needs to get over himself. He's literally single and boring. What else is he going to spend money on? I swear he likes feeling important. It's his thing." A pause. A rustle. Then, "Honestly, I think he owes us. He got the good genes and the good job. And he left us with you and Dad's medical crap. Paying is like his duty. Anyway, I'm thinking for the newborn shoot, we should upgrade to the studio that has the fog machine. It's only like $1,200. He'll survive." The memo ended. I sat very still. My heartbeat sounded like somebody knocking from inside my chest. I replayed the last sentence. "He owes us." I replayed the laugh. I replayed the part where my life was a vending machine, and Ruby had the right to press B7 and expect a soda. My phone buzzed. Ruby again. "Ruby, ignore that. It was for Mom. You know I love you. Don't be sensitive." I called her. She picked up, bright and breathless. "Alex, do you actually think I owe you?" I said. My voice sounded like it had been ironed flat. She paused, then went into her reasonable tone. You know what I mean. No, I said. I want to know if you think I owe you. You're making it a thing, she said. You always do this. You take everything to heart. I paid $23,000 for your shower. You offered, she said quick. You planned it like I was a bank, I said. You planned my money before you asked me. She exhaled like I was wasting oxygen. Alex, I'm about to be a mother, she said. I need support. I stared at the ceiling again, but this time the dots didn't calm me. I've been supporting this family for 13 years, I said. And you've mistaken that for entitlement. She scoffed. Are you breaking up with us? Dramatic. I hung up. I didn't throw the phone. I didn't scream. I opened my laptop. I pulled up my notes. I looked at the tally. My cursor pulsed in the empty white space at the bottom, like a heartbeat. I clicked New Document. I typed the title, Financial Boundaries, effective immediately. I started listing facts with dates and amounts. I attached PDFs of receipts. I wrote in plain words what I would and would not do from now on. I wrote that there would be no more loans, no more emergency transfers, no more subscriptions in my name. I wrote that the keys to my car were mine. Then I booked a flight for the next morning to Aunt Jenna's place, 2 states away. She doesn't ask me for anything. She owns a guest room and a silence that feels like grace. I packed a bag. I set my alarm. I deleted the family group chat from my home screen. In the quiet, I pictured Ruby's face when she read my message. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt like a person finally climbing out of a pool after treading water too long. I slept. At 7 a.m., I sent the email. Subject line: read this before you ask me for anything else. I sent it to Mom, Ruby, and Aunt Lisa. I didn't use fancy language. I wrote like I talk when I'm too tired to be clever. I started with the memo Ruby sent me by mistake. I quoted it, word for word. Then I attached my spreadsheet and highlighted the total at the bottom, a number I'd avoided looking at as a whole. Total support since 2012, $86,417.32. I explained the categories: rent, medical, car, utilities, special occasions. I listed the baby shower separately, $12,300 on September 7th. I added receipts. Not to shame anyone, but because facts don't argue, facts don't gaslight. Then I wrote the new rules. I will not be giving or lending money to anyone in the family for the foreseeable future. I will not co-sign anything. I will not put subscriptions, utilities, or services in my name for anyone else. Emergencies are no longer my responsibility. If you speak about me as a wallet or an obligation, I will block you. I ended with a line I thought about for a long time. I help because I love you. You treated it like a bill I forgot to pay. I'm done. I hit send. Then I grabbed my bag and headed to the airport. Mom called before I got to security. I let it ring, then picked up. Alex, she said, breathless like she'd run across the living room. We should talk about your email. It was harsh. Which part was harsh? I asked. The part where Ruby said I owe you, or the part where I said I won't pay anymore? She ignored that. You know how Ruby gets. She was excited. She didn't mean it. She meant it enough to send it. I said. Twice. You can't hold on to things, Mom said. It's not healthy. I laughed. Short and ugly. I've been holding all of us. That's what's not healthy. Don't do this, she said. Her voice cracked. What will happen to us? You'll figure it out, I said. Like adults. She went quiet long enough that I thought the call dropped. Then, your father wouldn't want you to abandon family. My father taught me to be a good man, I said. Not a doormat. I hung up before I could say something I couldn't take back. On the plane, I put my phone in airplane mode and watched clouds flatten into a calm white table. I felt something unclench in my jaw. I hadn't realized I'd been clenching it for years. At Aunt Jenna's, the guest room smelled like laundry and lemon. She hugged me, fed me eggs, and didn't ask a single invasive question. When I told her why I came, she nodded like the sky had finally done what the forecast promised. They'll be mad, she said matter-of-factly. I know they were mad when I stopped paying for things, too. She paused. Then they got over it. Or they learned how to be creative with less. We sat on the porch and listened to cicadas that sounded like power lines. My phone buzzed with messages I wasn't reading. Ruby, so you're punishing me because I'm having a baby? Ruby, you're literally abandoning your niece before she's born. Think about that. Aunt Lisa, this is not the time to make a point. Mom, Call me. We can fix this. I put the phone face down. I let the silence do what words hadn't. On day 2, Aunt Jenna knocked on my door and slid a mug across the floor with her foot. Your mom left a voicemail, she said. I didn't listen. Boundaries, I smiled. I listened. Mom's voice was soft and tired. I'm sorry, she said. I shouldn't have laughed when Aunt Lisa called you a benefactor. I let things snowball. I thought you didn't mind because you never said no. That's on me. Then the turn. But you can't just cut us off like this. Ruby is terrified. She needs you. I deleted it. That afternoon, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. Hey, it's Mark. We met once. Ruby's situation. I heard about the email. Can we talk? I stared at it. I didn't know what I wanted to hear from Mark, the complicated dad. I called anyway. He sounded like a guy who knows when something is his fault. I should have stepped up sooner, he said, voice low. I assumed you would handle it because everyone said you would. That's not right. I'm going to send Ruby money every week starting now. I just wanted you to know so you don't feel like the only adult in the room. It didn't fix everything, but it helped. That night, I got another voice memo from Ruby. I didn't want to press play. I did. Her voice was small. I'm mad, she said. I'm mad because this is hard, and I wanted it to feel beautiful, and you made it feel possible. I didn't think about what that cost you. I thought you didn't feel it. I'm sorry for saying you owe us. I was showing off for Mom. That's gross. I'm embarrassed. Then she inhaled and did the thing I hadn't heard her do since we were kids. She asked for something like a person, not a queen. Can you tell me what help looks like now? Not money. I mean, if there's anything else. I stared at my phone. I typed, erased, typed again. Me. I can help build the crib when I get back. I can show you how to budget. I can bring food I cook. I can hold the baby so you can nap. I can be an uncle, not a credit line. She typed, paused, typed. Ruby, okay. On day 3, Mom sent a longer text. It started badly. I don't know how to fix this if you won't talk. And ended better. Mom, I've asked your aunt to help me figure out my budget. I called the utility company myself. I told Ruby to stop saying, we'll figure it out, when what she means is Alex will. I'm not promising perfection. I'm promising effort. I didn't trust it, but I believed she believed it for that second. That was new. At Aunt Jenna's, I cooked. I slept. I edited my resume for fun. I ran by the river. I realized my shoulders had been living in my ears. I lowered them. On day 4, I got a photo from Ruby. A cheap little bassinet, put together wrong. The sheet was inside out. Ruby, when are you back? Me, Friday. Ruby, okay. Come Saturday and fix this. Bring coffee. Not the fancy one. The gas station one you like. I'll pay you back. LOL. Me, no paying back. Just buy your own coffee next time. Ruby, deal. Mom sent hearts. No words. Just hearts. It felt like a truce flag made of emojis. I let it be. Back home, I changed things. I took my card off 3 accounts. I called the internet provider and removed my name from Mom's plan. I set up separate logins for the streaming services so I could see who was still using mine. 3 people I didn't know were watching a cooking show in my profile. I smiled and changed the password. I told my manager I'd be offline 2 weekends a month. Non-negotiable. He nodded like he'd expected me to say that 5 years ago. Saturday, I showed up at Ruby's with a toolbox and gas station coffee. She looked puffy and real. She didn't hug me right away. She handed me a bag of bulk store diapers. I paid, she said, almost proud. They were on sale. I laughed. Good. We fixed the bassinet. We didn't talk about the shower. We didn't say, oh. We said things like, Lefty Lucy, and does this look level? When I stood to leave, Ruby put her hand on the bassinet and said, I want you in her life. I want that too, I said. As her uncle, not her bank. Ruby chewed her lip, then nodded. Okay, it wasn't a movie ending. There was no swell of music, just 2 siblings in a messy apartment with an almost finished life in the corner and a list of small, hard things to do. That night, I opened my notes app and wrote a new line. Alex's life support budget. Time, not money. I didn't put a number next to it. A month later, I sat on Ruby's floor with the baby asleep on my chest. Gas station coffee on the table. A spreadsheet open on my laptop, but not for them. For me. Savings, vacation, a thing I want that isn't an emergency, an actual want. I wrote the words guitar lessons and didn't delete them. Mom texted a photo of a grocery receipt with a caption. Used coupons, $31 saved. She used to send me lists of things I owed. Now she sent me proof of what she could do. Ruby sent a video of the baby sneezing. We both laughed. That dumb, breathy laugh you do when a small person does anything. Then she sent a text. Newborn shoot at the cheap studio. No fog machine. It was still cute. I leaned back and listened to the little weight snore against my shirt. I thought about that memo. I could still hear it. The high, bright contempt in my sister's voice. I didn't pretend it didn't hurt. But pain wasn't the last word. Here's what I know now. Generosity without boundaries becomes debt someone else thinks you owe. Love without no turns into resentment with a bow on it. Saying, "I'm done," wasn't cruelty. It was the only way to make any future kindness real. The next time a bill threatens to go unpaid, it won't be an alert on my phone at midnight. It'll be a conversation with the person whose name is on it. The next time someone says, "We'll figure it out," I'll ask who "we" is. And if my name isn't clear, I'll walk away. I'm not the family wallet. I'm a person who helps when I choose to, how I choose to. I paid for a party that sparkled and evaporated in an afternoon. Then I paid attention to the voice that told me the truth. It said, "Stop." I did. And now I'm here, holding a tiny human who doesn't know what a credit score is, only that my chest is warm and steady. She'll grow up watching people ask for what they need and hearing no without the world ending. She'll learn that love has edges. That's a gift, too. I'm not trying to get even. I'm trying to live. I won't be used. I won't be the button you press when you want something shiny. If you want me, you get me. My time, my hands, my laugh. On purpose, not by default. That's the plan Ruby didn't see coming. It wasn't revenge. It was boundaries. And it worked. So, I'm curious, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family to save yourself? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear your stories.